interface. All right, let me check up with Christine if the live stream is on.
It is on. Redirecting right now. So just give it a few seconds.
Okay.
Okay, should be live now.
Okay, can you see my slide moving?
Yep.
Okay, all good, right? So welcome everyone for joining this session. Tonight in Asia Pacific, we will have this lightning talk with all these youth speakers from all around the world to have an interactive session, I suppose. But before we actually move on to start, to let our speakers start the presentations, I will briefly give a way forward about what you can actually do after joining this virtual camp. So, why I cannot move my own slide? Okay, here we go. The agenda is briefly like that. I hope you can actually follow the flow, but I'm not going too deep because we're kind of like behind the schedule for a little bit. So for now, it's our last stage of Youth IGF, and what you can actually do right after this is to join APIGF next week. Most of the speakers and also our organizing committee and others youth members in Asia Pacific actually are joining this, and directly there's like a method for you, a way for you to actually directly contribute your opinion, as we mentioned for many times already, joined the workshop and the town hall sessions, and then contribute directly into the synthesis document. That will really help. And so for you as a youth participant from yIGF, we give you guys some kind of support. We're trying our best. So other than joining the workshop, one of the workshops, just to highlight, actually organized by the Net Mission Ambassador, which is like someone like Pavel or Steven or Jasmine. They organize these sessions and going together some speakers from Asia Pacific to talk about the topic about learning remotely from home. And then also just one thing to highlight is we have daily catch up for those people who participate APIGF every day. And for those people on the call, regardless you're just a participant or a speaker here, if you're interested in, as long as you're the participant of APIGF, you can join our Internet Happy Hour on day 0 and day 2. Steven, Pavel, Jasmine, and all, they're putting so much effort and time trying to make it fun. So we hope to see more of you from our Asia Pacific community to join that. And I have seen some of you registering already, which is great. So we'll see you there. We'll see you guys pretty much just next week. So yeah. And how do you want to stay engaged? Some of you might want to join, to the aspect which is more policy making. Some of you may want it to be more technical. So there's many ways for you to stay engaged, but you do not know much, you think, about internet governance, then it's good for you to start up with yIGF, which is you already in this internet governance ecosystem. And then in November, we have this IGF happening virtually. So there's some way for you to stay engaged. So let's say, for example, if you want to join internet governance, Net Mission particularly have a few workshops, maybe you will be interested in joining, and you can check it out later on after today's session. And yeah, that's just for your reference. And then I try to pull out some events that will be actually, you might be interested. You can pretty much just ignore the places that the event's supposed to happen, because pretty much things are going virtually, especially for September onwards. I'm not sure about those events on the left-hand side. That's event for 2021, but we'll see. But even if it happened virtually, it's great also because we all can join from home or from your own schedule, which is great. So now I'm not going to talk about it much because yesterday we already have APRGF secretary to talk about it. But after APRGF and yIGF, if you want to stay engaged and contribute, you can join the MSG group, which is the multi-stakeholder steering group. And yesterday, I'm sure you talked with Raj, which is the chair of MSG already. You can actually be part of it. So you can check it out on the link. And we actually have an MSG member here on this call. So later, if you have some questions you want to ask about it, you can just, feel free to ask your questions. And for IGF particularly, you can join best practice forum other than joining the regular workshops or IGF itself, and also the dynamic coalitions. We have Noah and Millie being the members of the youth coalitions on internet governance this year. So later we'll talk about touch on it. I think it's more technical, and then we didn't talk much about it today, so this is just for your reference. If you are interested, you can check up on it. And there are some online resources for you to learn more about internet governance from a more policy-making way or a more technical way. I find it very resourceful and helpful because personally, I would also take courses from this platform offer and the courses offered by these academies. So financial aid about internet governance, this is just for your reference. Later on, our speakers will actually talk about this program and share the experience on joining this program in the past. But because of COVID-19, maybe this is not very helpful at the moment, but keep that in mind. If you want to join ICANN, you can always, check up on this travel support and see if you would like to apply it and participate and stay engaged in this internet governance community. And other than joining the meetings, you can actually initiate some local initiative, which I know some of you in this call, especially those folks from Myanmar, you guys are organizing the Myanmar Youth IGF really good. And some of you may be joining the internet governance schools before from some other countries, and you might actually check up on this initiative for some fundings and see if it would help. And other than that, promotion time, I'm so sorry. I've seen so many of you being so active in this past few days, and if you are still very interested and not fed up with all this internet governance issue yet, and you want to take your step further, feel free to check on Net Mission Academy 2021. At the moment, we are actually recruiting new members. This year we have this program timeline, and you can go to our website to check out more details. If you want to be in the positions of Pavel, Stephen, Jasmine, and all, you can actually join this academy. And after a series of training, you will probably be the next one to, host yIGF or some other youth activity next year. And then you'll get some chance to write proposals with all youth members from Asia Pacific or other youth leaders from other regions to submit your ideas to APIGF or IGF. And you got lots of chances to stay engaged and interact with different people in many ways. Besides that, you could join some youth initiative to get some updates from our community or information about internet governance. You can simply join the mailing list of Fellows.Asia, or you can search it up on Facebook, so you can join the Facebook group, and also Youth for IG. That is a really interesting and it is a really good youth initiative with many talented young people, which is really good network to join if you really want to stay in this internet governance community. I highly recommend. And let me just admit that person's in this room because they have bad internet, I believe, and I keep dropping. Since we don't have too much time on it, and I do not want to keep it too long, perhaps we can combine these Q&A sessions at the end of the session, so we can have I can end here and just invite our first speakers to share this experience with all of you. And let me just stop sharing for now. I hope the way forward session I just gave, it's helpful for you to find a way to stay engaged in internet governance. And I really hope after joining this Youth IGF, you guys would like to stay here, which is a good sign for me, because it means that you all is not bored by us. So before I invite Elizabeth to actually make her presentations, I will briefly go through who will be on our lightning talk today. So the first one will be Elizabeth Shalmond. Elizabeth is actually, may I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So Elizabeth, not much background. I sent it out to you guys, so I'm not going to recap it. So we have Elizabeth today, and then we have Noha from representing YCIG today. And we will have Millie from the founders of U4IG. And also we have Joshua. I'm not sure if Joshua is on the call right now, but we have Joshua also, and we have Inhita and Elliot today. And I believe you guys have checked out the speakers' bios already, so I'm not going to talk about it again. And on day one, you guys have met Elliot already, and so I think it's okay. We are good to go. And I think we just not wasting more time on this. And I would just invite directly to give the floor to Elizabeth. So maybe Elizabeth, you can share your screen to show your PowerPoint or anything that is appropriate to show here with all of the participants. I will give the time to you right now.
Thank you, Jenna. Hi, everyone. It is a great honor that I can speak to you today. Let me just briefly share my screen. I have a few slides that I want to show you, because what you should now be able to see that in a full mode. All right. So what I want to talk to you about today in the next few minutes, I will try to keep it brief, so there's time for questions after, if that is, if you have any. I am going to talk to you about the Youth for Digital Sustainability program that we conduct this year here at the German Informatics Society as a global youth program that kind of builds on. And now let me give you a bit of context. Last year's Youth IGF Summit, we were in the position here at the German Informatics Society to be able to organize and host the first global Youth IGF Summit, because the Internet Governance Forum by the UN took place in Berlin, and the host ministry was very supportive of youth participation and gave us, the opportunity, the space, and the resources to conduct such a summit. And in the course of the several months that people from all world regions worked together, it was actually over 100 people who were engaged in this process. It became quite clear that digital sustainability and different aspects of digital sustainability were something that young people especially were preoccupied, and that was of high interest. And we also thought that especially young people have a lot of expertise on these topics. And if you look into, for example, advocacy towards climate justice and the environmental impact that we have as people and as digital citizens, so to speak, it is often young people who are on the, on the way forward in those topics. So we decided this year we want to set up a program that focuses on these topics. And we have done it from the beginning on fully virtual. So, a few months ago when I drafted the project, I still thought, okay, it would be nice if we could have like an on-site check-in, or at least at the IGF, some kind of, pre-workshop. But as Jenna has said, everything is virtual now. So we are also fully virtual, which is in and of itself not a bad thing, because by that we can reach so many more people and everyone can participate in an equal way regardless of their location. So what is the program about? We set out to facilitate a deliberate policy process, so to give young people the structures and the frameworks to work on different aspects of digital sustainability. Those aspects kind of correlate with the main tracks of the UN Internet Governance Forum. They're not completely the same, but we kind of took an idea of what those could be. And then we reached out earlier this summer to the wider community, also to people who have not been involved in internet governance before, because we think it's very important to have like the influx of new people, new ideas, and also a very holistic approach to this whole thing. And many people applied, and then in a kind of tough process, we identified 53 young experts who showed a lot of expertise and interest and motivation to be in this process. We have participants from all our working group members, more so from all world regions, specifically 32 countries, and they organize in 4 working groups working on 4 different policy topics that I will introduce to you in a second. The outcome that we want to achieve in those 4 working groups is messages and recommendations, short papers, as well as catchy policy claims that we can then deliver towards the United Nations Internet Governance Forum and also other digital fora where this might be of interest. And it's always in a sense, as we're working globally, we always want to encourage people to take what they have been working on in a global sense, take that back to their regional, local, national communities and adapt accordingly to what the needs and the topics are in their communities. As I said, there are 4 key themes, and for each key theme, there's a working group. Each working group consists of 10 to 15, 16 people at most. They have chosen themselves what they were most interested in and what they had the most expertise in. The working group Greening the Internet looks into the environmental effects of digital technologies, of the internet itself, and also how we can raise awareness for that impact, maybe positively influence the way that this is going. The working group Fair Digital Businesses is in line with the idea that with a lot of business now happening online, or at least with the help of the internet, we need to look into how businesses are conducted online and how they can be economically sustainable, but also environmentally friendly and socially beneficial. So they are looking into solutions, approaches to that question. The working group Internet for Social Cohesion looks into questions of how to make the internet, or have the internet be a forum for, that leaves no one behind. We talk about access as well as content and safety online. So this is what they are looking into. And the Sustainable Internet Governance Group more so takes a meta view on internet governance processes. They, as you know, as you might have learned over the past days, internet governance has been set out as this very open, inclusive, bottom-up process, and they want to now explore how that can be really translated into reality, and also how young people act and can take space in internet governance. We have a website. Every working group at this stage has already conducted 1 webinar. Those have all been put online and will be put on the website shortly. So if you're interested in catching up on what they have been doing so far, you can find that online. And in the process of the next few weeks, they will go into a kind of hiatus, work on their policy drafts. And then, I don't know if this has been mentioned yet, but on November 5th, the UN IGF Secretariat as well, with the in conjunction with us and other players, and also the would-be Polish hosts. They're conducting a youth summit where, you know, this would kind of be a moment where the youth messages or the youth for digital sustainability messages would be presented. We also have a Twitter where you could follow all of our activities, and we try to put out content that is interesting to a lot of people. We understand that different aspects of this are more interesting to some than to others, but maybe there's a point of interest for you or an idea that resonates with you, and we would be happy to exchange. And you can find all of the recorded webinars on the YouTube channel of the German Informatics Society, if you feel so inclined. But as I said, they will also be put on our website. And now to give faces to this whole process, that it's not only me speaking on what other people are doing, I'm only the facilitator of this process. As I said, there are over 50 young people from all world regions to bring a lot of expertise and different perspectives on the 4 policy areas that we are talking about. And I'm hoping that we can really make a point of continuity and also how to bring topics forward. As I said, last year we had this big summit and a lot of people were involved in that. And now we want to see how we can take a more solution-focused approach. And also if we split people and have them work in a really focused way, what comes out of that. So I'm really looking forward to see how this progresses. I hope this has been interesting. If there are any questions, I'm sure there's a time for a Q&A later. And with that, I would like to give it back to Jenna. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Elizabeth, for talking about your program, because I personally do not know much about this program. I only know one of the Net Mission ambassador actually on your program, and I find it really interesting because I've seen all these updates about the program. And for those on the call, do not hesitate when you want to apply for some activity or program like that. I think you guys can do it, and sometimes need to take that one step further to get out of your comfort zone, and you can explore something new and learn new things. So thank you, Elizabeth, for that part. I know we are kind of like not having much time, and we still want to have, say some more time for the Q&A session. So perhaps we will have our presentation very concisely, and then perhaps I do not waste much time on this right now. And I would just invite Noha to give her presentation that would have her to talk about the youth coalitions on internet governance and IGF. This is like a way where you guys can actually participate in the coming months. So perhaps we'll have Noha to talk about it and see how it can help you guys stay engaged in that area.
Thank you, Jenna. Hi, everyone. And I would like to thank Net Mission for inviting me to be a speaker in this lightning talk. And I really appreciate your efforts to bring more youth on the table and to bring fresh blood in these IG spaces. Let me share my slides, please. Are you able to see my slides? Okay, great. So first of all, my name is Noha Ashraf. I'm from Egypt, and I'm currently a steering committee member and the Africa representative at the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, the YCIG. And I'm also a member of one of the working groups of of Youth for Digital Sustainability, which Elizabeth was talking about, specifically on the working group of sustainable internet governance. So today I'll be talking about the YCIG and what we do. So ladies and gentlemen, here's our steering committee members, and all women team this year. This year we're representing 4 regional groups. We have Mary from the Eastern European group, Eileen from LAC group, Millie, who's here in the call as well, and we'll be speaking about youth for IG. She's representing the Asia Pacific group, and myself representing the African group. So I believe Jenna mentioned that she already discussed what BPFs and dynamic coalitions are. So the YCIG is one of the IGF dynamic coalitions, which I believe are so far 22 or something. And why do we have a specific dynamic coalition for youth? I'll leave that for your reflections. What a dynamic coalition is it's a group which gathers people from the same interests. Okay, so the YCIG was established to advocate the voice of youth, which were underrepresented in these spaces, and still, I believe they are still underrepresented, and to bring more youth to internet governance. And why you think it was important, because youth are digital natives. They are the main users of the internet. Also, the YCIG is a great platform to exchange knowledge, to share opportunities. You can actually subscribe to our mailing lists and receive notifications from youth from all over the world regarding any upcoming events related to IG or any opportunities you can apply for. You can even share your work if you have a publication or you're working on a project or you have a local event you want to share more about. We are also having channels on different social media, like we have a Facebook group, we have Twitter and Instagram accounts. So what we basically do is we try to contribute to youth engagement at the IGF. We work closely with the IGF Secretariat to organize the youth engagement activities at the IGF. We do capacity building as well. For example, I will share the link for the IGF ABC for Nearbys. It's a guideline that was created for newcomers in these spaces on how to get engaged and get more involved if you're a newcomer. And as I said, we share relevant opportunities, fellowships, and events. And we're actually here for so long. We have a long journey. I want you to predict how old is the YCIG. You can type in the chat. How old is it? 3, 5, 7. Yeah, we're never getting old, Millie. Okay, I'll give 5 more seconds for predictions. They're actually older. Okay. We are 10 years old. The YCIG was established in the IGF the IGF in Sharm el-Sheikh. It was in 2009. It was recommended to establish the YCIG. And the first session for the YCIG was in the following IGF in 2010. Why it was recommended to establish the YCIG, I believe it was a natural decision to increase the youth engagement, and it was obviously noticed that we need to bring more youth, and it was observed that at the IGF you will see the same people every time, so why not bring fresh blood to the table, bring new voices as well. Okay. And yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, because some people confuse us as an organization. We are not a youth organization. We are a dynamic coalition, as I mentioned before. So as we aim to bring more youth in sessions and workshops as speakers, not only as participants, we created a youth experts list. And you could find in this list youth from different backgrounds and different regions and different age groups as well. So you, by the way, you can join the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance if you are between 18 and 35 years old. That was in 2017, and we approached workshop organizers at the IGF to include these youth experts in their panels. And it was actually a hard task, because not all of them agreed on that, to be honest. So in 2019, this list was updated to be the Youth Champions list, which is still open to receive applications from youth experts. You don't have to be an expert in your field. And the great results for this, that if you want to create a profile on the IGF website and list yourself as a resource person, you can now find a tick box indicating that you're youth. You can tick it if you're youth. So workshop organizers can reach out to you if they believe that your background and your experience is good enough to include you in their workshops. So that was in the previous years. What we do, or what we're doing this year, is as follows. From the beginning of 2020, the four of us, Mary, Eileen, Millie, and myself, were elected. So to be a representative, you have to be elected. I will share how to join the elections at the end of my presentation. We do care about our community, so we questionnaire at the beginning of the year to test the waters and to know our community members' needs, or how to shape our work or our plan during the year, and which topics we should include in this plan, or how to deliver these topics as well. We updated our charter, specifically in the elections part, to avoid any bureaucracy in this process. We updated our code of conduct as well, and we created a working group with Youth Observatory to submit sessions at the end. We're working closely with the IGF Secretariat. Previously, we didn't know if the IGF was confirmed to be virtual or not, but we were still working with the IGF Secretariat, and now we were drafting and finalizing the whole plan with the IGF Secretariat and the Polish government and other youth organizations as well. We, as you may heard about the ISOC's IGF Youth Ambassadors Program, this year the Internet Society has picked 30 ambassadors, and we are providing them with mentorship from experts, whether they are youth or older people. We are providing a one-to-one mentorship for them to help them on how to have effective participation at the IGF, and to help them in their projects, as well as they're supposed to submit projects related to the Internet Society's mission. And as we know the importance of youth shaping the future of the IGF, we submitted a response from Plus survey that was conducted by the NRIs. We participated in the Mission Publique's event on the same topic, how to reshape the IGF Plus. And I invite you to search more about the IGF Plus and the other suggested models. We organized the Day Zero event at Schroedig, and as well as an open course at USLAC IGF. We were at USLAC IGF as well, giving a keynote presentation and another session. These are the results of the questionnaire we held at the beginning of the year. These are the percentage of participation from different regions and the topics which are youth interested in. Okay, another question, another pop-up quiz. How many regions are represented at the YCIG? I know I said we are 4 steering members committee, but unfortunately this year we're not covering all the regions because we didn't have any nominated representative from the other missing regions. So please type in the chat if you know how many regions are represented at the YCIG.
Sorry to interrupt, Noha. For them to type the answer in the chat, I just want to remind you we'll have on average 10 minutes per speakers.
Yes, okay. Sorry about that.
To remind you
so
a little bit. Yeah. Perhaps might have to wrap up a little bit.
Yes, sure. So there are 5 regions. We're missing 1 representative this year, but we're covering the Eastern European, Africa, Asia Pacific, and LAC, but we're missing a representative this year from the Western European group. And I know I need to wrap up, so I will leave the questions here. I can type them in the chat, so we can have a Q&A later or leave it up to reflections. Here is how to join the YCIG. I will also share this in the chat. We have a Facebook group. You can subscribe to our mailing list, and you can visit our website for our updates and news. And I invite you to join our DC session on November 4 at the IGF. It will be on November 4 at 19 UTC. Thank you for listening, and I'm sorry for taking too long.
No worries, no worries. We've got this. And for sure, after all speakers have finished the presentation, we have an entire 30-minute research for Q&A, and perhaps we can even spare some more time on the Q&A session so we can have more interactions and see what our participants think about all this youth initiative. And right next, we will have Millie to talk about Youth for IG particularly, which is something happening and in very interesting initiative happening in our own regions, where you guys might find it more comfortable to jump in right after joining this event. So I will just pass the time to Millie to talk about it.
Thanks, Jenna. And thank you everyone for tuning in. It's a great audience and happy to see so many new faces and also regular Youth for IG members and my colleague Noah from YCIG and Elizabeth and everyone. I'm going to try to keep it a lot more interactive. My presentation is quite short. I'm putting in the link so you guys can access it later as well. Feel free to punch in your questions while I'm talking. I'm just going to give you a little overview of what Youth for IG is, why this regional perspective matters, and what since we're all at the yIGF APAC 2020, it's time we sort of start looking at it in more regional light, and that's precisely how Youth for IG came into being, actually. So, yeah, what's most unique about Youth for IG is that it's by the youth, for the youth, and of the youth. As Noah mentioned, YCIG is 10 years old. Youth for IG actually is just about a little about more than a year old. So we formed it last year in 2019, and actually yIGF in the Russian APR IGF was our first public event, so to speak, which is where you see Jenna and all the other participants in this picture. What is unique about Youth for IG is that it was started by the young people, and it is a platform for all of us to come together. I would rather say it's not a platform, it's more of a community. We're all together here to keep learning. As we saw in Jenna's presentation about the way forward, there are a million things that we all can do in the IG space, depending on our expertise and experience and likes and interests. But where do you start? And how do you navigate this confusing, mind-boggling, jargon-driven world, which I think you guys have already been primed with in the last 2 days. So that's where Youth for IG came in, as a community where we all could just get together. Primarily started as a WhatsApp group, and obviously there's mailing list and now social media and website, and we have regular meetings. But it's basically more like a WhatsApp community where we keep talking about what are the upcoming things, how can the APAC participation become better, how we can help each other grow and learn more things, and oh, there is this opportunity. How can I become a fellow? So there'll be a lot of people from the Youth for IG community who have been a fellow before. They can just come in and share their inputs. So as you see, some of our accomplishments, we were just born technically in 2019, or we already have about 150 members and counting. Obviously, most of our members are from the APAC region because this is where we primarily started. But we're also open, and we're trying to make it a lot more inclusive and global. And one of the efforts in doing that is trying to collaborate with other universal youth organizations like YCIG, like Youth Observatory. We're trying to do a lot of collaborative events with them and other initiatives that we can all do this together. What we're inspired to do majorly is obviously build our capacity, like the Knit Mission program, which I was a part of many, many years ago. And I realized that after that, there is still some amount of hand-holding that we all, as young people, trying to navigate the space need, which is where we thought there would be a couple of things that we should all be doing together, which is building capacity and trying to help enable ourselves train better, keep getting more information, just advocacy, which is how do we put out the youth perspective out there, be it at an IGF forum, be it at a regional forum, or even at the ICANN, or other ITFs and other forums. How can the youth voice become more strong? And then there is webinars and all these other capacity building initiatives that we continue to do to keep educating ourselves. We're multicultural. We have people from all over the APAC community. There's also Taiwan, which this chart doesn't effectively show. It's a very small slice. But from Taiwan all the way up to the Pacific Islands and Oceania, we cover the entire continent. We're also multi-stakeholder. Everybody has their own nation expertise. We're organized in different teams. So depending on your expertise, you can just want to be a part of any of these teams to sort of narrow down your journey into IG. If not, you can still choose to be a part of a broader group. And then together with everybody, keep learning about the new opportunities, new ways to contribute in the IG space, just as how complex the space is. And the whole IG ecosystem is built on collaboration. Right? It's built on multi-stakeholder model where we all work together. Different stakeholders come together, discuss and share their views. There is no one person say it all or do it all. And that's the same spirit that we've tried to keep in Youth for IG, where we all keep working in teams in different capacities so that we can keep producing these policies or our inputs on certain initiatives that are happening in a more collaborative, collective way. Well, 2020 has been a very unique year, needless to say, but even from the comfort of our homes and being spread out across the region, none of us really actually met each other. Most of the members would usually have chances to meet each other in some event or the other, but we have been doing a bunch of activities. One of the most popular things was the COVID blog series. This was actually quite a big hit amongst all our members as well. So we had people from different countries in the APAC region share the on-ground status of what COVID was doing to their country, how was technology or ICT being used at the time of COVID or misused. I mean, there were lots of governments who did some nasty things with having apps that hindered citizen privacy. So we saw a lot of these kind of blogs come in. You can go to our website and check them out. I will share these links in the chat box. Feel free to punch in any questions that you have while I'm speaking. We also completed a mentorship program. Now, this mentorship program was more of a buddy system where we got two Youth for IG members to facilitate a mentorship for some new participants, someone who's relatively new to the ecosystem, just like many of you will be after API IGF, and you'll be like, okay, where do I start? What should I do next? So that's where the mentorship program came in to help them. We connected them to two senior leaders in the IG ecosystem who could guide them towards their IG goals a bit better, what they wanted to do, what was their goal next, even if it was something as simple as getting to the next fellowship, or if it was something like a PhD project they were working on. These mentorships facilitated those kind of interactions, and going with the experience of the mentees, they actually earned a lifelong mentor who they can keep going back to through the course of their time in the internet governance space. Obviously, we do have a lot of virtual events and webinars which are ongoing. We host almost one event every month. And the next big one that's coming up is a pre-IGF event. So it's going to be something similar to this, where we're going to have a more interactive session where we have youth from all over the world come in and talk about the various IGF themes. This is something we're doing in collaboration with YCIG and Youth Observatory. Apart from other in-house events that we do, and we're also working on this larger goal of developing future IG leaders. We're all young today, and we're all relatively new to this space as compared to the senior leaders, but in another decade or so, or even shorter, we will be taking up their positions and be doing a lot of this organization, we'll be doing a lot of these thought building processes, policy building stuff. But how are we going to equip ourselves if we don't work in a structured plan? I mean, none of us are going to a university, or none of us are actually studying a particular course, and there is no particular journey like a career and a job and this. We're all working here as volunteers. So how do we keep developing ourselves to get to the point of becoming IG leaders? And for this, we're also working on a special plan with the ICANN APAC office. You'll hear a few more updates about that soon. So what does that collaboration entail, and how it will benefit the youth community? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so just introducing a few people, these are the focal points who work on the various initiatives. Obviously, the community is large and it's absolutely open and inclusive. Everybody's free to participate, everybody's free to join or opine. But these are just a few of the leaders who share some of the spots, and they're the best go-to contact points for these topics. So if you're discussing anything policy, before you to go. Similarly, for outreach and webinars, we have other people. How do you join? It's as simple as just going to the website, filling a form, and join the WhatsApp group. Once you're in the group, you're just in the loop of everything that's going on around globally and as well as regionally. There are lots of opportunities for you to participate in. It could be at a virtual level. It could be sometimes in a physical space as well. Sometimes it could also mean you just sort of get together with a bunch of people and put out certain things like a public comment on an ICANN. This is something you've never done before, but how do you learn and navigate to do that? Or it could be putting out a workshop proposal for IGF or API IGF, or even assisting that mission next year in organizing API IGF or yIGF or API IGF. So any of these kind of initiatives where you think you don't know how to get started, Youth for IG will be that place for you to go. Happy to take questions now or at the end. I'm happy to pass the floor to Jenna again. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Millie. So after Elizabeth, Noha and Millie sharing the opportunity of how you can actually get engaged with different program or initiative, I would actually like to invite Joshua, who actually participated in a Youth IGF Summit last year in Berlin, to share with us the youth statement actually built and developed during that event. So just to let you know, to give some insights about youth from other regions, from other sectors, actually, what's their thought about particular issues that we care, see how different youth from different regions actually think about the same thing we are working on. So we'll just give the time to Joshua for now.
It's nice to be here and meet everyone. Good afternoon over here. It's afternoon here, currently in Nigeria. And it's nice to see familiar faces, Elizabeth and Noah and Jen. Nice to meet you all. So I'm going to share my experience in the IGF last year and see how, and more like serve as an encouragement to see why more people should get involved in internet governance. I was going to share a slide, but I'll try to just talk so that I can have more time. So yeah, the IGF experience for me was quite awesome. And then most especially the youth IGF, where we were able to draft out some messages that we felt would be needed to get more young people involved, because pretty much one of the things that most of us are trying to fight for is to get more young people involved in the IGF process, because there have been more of the older folks in it. And then the younger people feel that, oh, I need to get to some level to be part of the IGF process. And most times when you get new people involved, they have this fear that, oh, I don't see more young people around. Seems like it's not my kind of thing. But then what I and other people have been trying to do is to see how we can get involved in the process and see how we can get more people to, join the process. So at the IGF Berlin last year, we had the Youth Summit, which was organized by some companies put together, and then we had the GI Institute, which is the institute that Elizabeth works for, and then the Informatics Institution. And then we also had the German Informatics Society, sorry. We had the German government, we had Google, Vodafone, and geotech institutions who came together and say, oh, we wish to partner with more young people to come learn about internet governance, come give their own contributions to it. And at the end of the forum, we had messages, and I want to read out some of the messages because I feel some of the messages are stuff that we might want to take home. So at this point, I'll just share my screen so that you see some of the messages. Let me share my screen. So good. So yeah, so I picked a few of them. I didn't take all so that you can be able to see those that interest me, and pretty much I'll tell you where to go get the other ones from. One of the messages says that companies should be transparent on their algorithms, data, content, rules, and decision-making to uphold trust and responsibility. And it says that government should play a role in enforcing with independent bodies. Users and independent researchers should also have easy access to necessary data. And this about transparency. We have another one about child protection, and it says child protection online is a priority for all of us. Pretty much everyone agrees with that. And it says we need a universal approach, something that everyone could actually understand, not working in silos. Collaboration between all stakeholders is crucial for designing an effective policy by involving parents, healthcare, education professionals, as well as children themselves. Another one talks about strategies in terms of cybersecurity. And it says we demand new dynamic cybersecurity strategies with multi-stakeholder approaches that include transparent, adaptive, and human-oriented policies. Since laws have direct impact on our daily lives, as technology evolves, policy must too. This has to do with net neutrality, and pretty much this is actually the team I was part of. And it says net neutrality and unrestricted internet access must be guaranteed in order to ensure digital inclusion. To achieve that, government, companies, and ISPs must not control data flow nor prioritize services and must ensure transparency. Pretty much transparency should be among everywhere, and no one should hold specific data. No one should be the lead, If you want to see more of the messages because they're quite bulky, you might want to look at the youth website, the yIGF.de, and then you can see more of the messages. Pretty much what we're able to do was come up with all those messages to tell the world, because we believe at the IGF that the whole world was there. The messages were drafted amongst 100 youths from 30 different countries. So this youth felt the need to put down their messages and say, oh, this is what we wish to tell the world. These are things that we feel are important to us. And we're able to, during the time of Berlin, share this information at the forums, at the fora we're part of, at the small groups, at the sections, be able to tell people, oh, these are the youth messages. And I believe we made quite an impact, because pretty much whatever happened last year led to the IGF saying this year that, oh, we wish to have youth engagement as something we want to do regularly. And as part of that, the IGF this year is doing the Shape the Internet and trying to see how they can get the youth engaged in the process. And I feel that's something, because it all started with a few persons saying, oh, we want to have the youth forum. We want to have a youth summit, and we want the youth voices to be heard. So for the IGF, which was held after the youth summit, one of the stuff that we try to do as young people was try to see how we can push most of these youth messages to the different sections and try to make it heard so that more young people can get involved and see how everyone can get involved in the processes. And it just didn't stop there, because down to my community and also to the communities I'm currently involved in, what we also tried to do was to see how we can take these messages that was done at the youth summits to talk about them in the different sections we had, to make sure we had this connect so that it doesn't end up as if we met and then talked about the messages and we're off, but we try to make something continue so that we can have these messages ring a bell. We can have this this out there for people to know that, oh, these are what the young people are asking for. This is what we feel we need. And pretty much that's it on my part. Yeah, thanks so much, Jenna. That's very fast.
All right, great. It's nice to actually recap what we have done last year in the Youth IGF Summit, because it's an event with many youth from all around the world. It's a good, it's a good demonstration of having that youth statement from an event. So that's why this year we also encourage our participants here to actually do a presentation, explicitly show what they have done in these past 2 days. So thanks for your sharing on this part, and I think it's great for them to hear about it. So I think we have heard enough of how we engage outside the regions, which is like how you engage globally on different programs and initiatives. Perhaps, I guess some of you might want to know about the fellowship part, because you might apply to engage, to attend some event when we can actually travel to another place for a meeting after COVID-19. So today we are not going to talk about all programs, because there are quite a lot. There are IGF Ambassador Program offered by ISOC. There are something from ICANN. And today I think the best is that we have Inhita first to share some ideas and her experience on next gen at ICANN. Even we do not talk much about ICANN at this meeting, but I think it's good for you guys to hear about it, because ICANN, there's like a meeting happened in October, if I do not remember it wrong. So it will be great if you guys can just have a brief insights on it right now. And Elliot later, after Inhita finished the presentation, would talk about APIGA, which is an academy usually happen in Seoul in July or August, but this year because of COVID-19 we cancel it, but hopefully next year we can see everyone in Seoul again. So we'll have two of them to share about the ideas and their experience at this event and receiving this fellowship. So I will let Inhita to give her presentations right now.
Jenna, thank you so much. Hello all, I'm Aida, and I'm just going to share my screen quickly, just a second. Yes. Hey, so hi everybody, I'm Ahita and I'm from India, and I am really happy to be, speaking about the Next Gen program at ICANN today with all of you, because I started almost 3 years back. That's when I started engaging in the internet governance domain and learning from lots of stakeholders. And the first step that I took in this domain was through the Next Gen program when I was an undergrad student in my 3rd year of college. Yes. So before we begin as to what the Next Gen program is all about, I would like to briefly explain ICANN. So ICANN stands for the Internet Cooperation for Assigned Names and Numbers. And it was founded in 1998, and it's a not-for-profit organization, and it believes in one world, one internet. So the entire policy-making process of ICANN is around, making sure that the discussions and policies mimic the structure of the internet itself, for it to be borderless and open for all. So what ICANN does is that it manages a very, very critical aspect of the internet architecture, that is the domain name system. So domain name system, all the functions and its expansion is what ICANN looks after, and it develops policies on the internet's unique identifiers, that are the domain names and the IP addresses. It might sound very technical to you, but let me just quickly explain it very briefly. So domain name system, think of it as the phone book of the internet. So in the phone book, you have a column for the names and you have a column for your phone numbers. So similarly, in domain name system, you will have, instead of the name, you replace it with the domain names, and instead of your phone numbers, replace it with the IP addresses. And using these IP addresses, right, systems navigate and find the internet resources that you have requested for. So the entire management of the DNS is what ICANN looks after. So there are two, if you were to categorize the policies that ICANN is handling with respect to the DNS, you can categorize it broadly into the DNS-based policies and the operational policies. So the DNS policies that ICANN works around is policies that are around the recovery and of the expired domain names. Then you need policies to make sure there's a proper and transparent transfer of domain names from one registrar to the other. Then policies to make sure that there is, peace. So you need a policy for dispute resolution of domains. So this is what DNS policy comprises of, more or less. And the operational policy is around, what the investment-based policy. So where should ICANN invest? How should it invest? So you need a structure for that. And that is what is the operational policy. Then you have the conflict of interest-based policies. So this is what briefly, ICANN handles. Which is a very critical aspect of the internet. Then now, so when I was NextGen in 2016, November, it was my first time in the IG space. And then there was this on the left side that you can see in quotes. This was there on a slide during one of our sessions. So it says the heart of ICANN's policy making is a multi-stakeholder model of governance. So ICANN strongly believes in, a community-led decision-making and policy development process. So as you can see on the right side of my slide, that's the entire ICANN multi-stakeholder model. There are lots of verticals to handle, again, various verticals of this critical DNS aspect of the internet. So we have GNSO, which is the generic name supporting organization that handles policies around the generic top-level domains. Then we have ASO, that is the address supporting organization around the addresses, the implementation and development of addresses. So we are similarly at large. So at large is another organization that helped within a committee within ICANN that is focused on voicing the voices of internet end users and how the DNS-based policies and ICANN-based policies are affecting them, as well as making sure that the internet end users are a part of this development process. Then RSS-AC, SSAC, so root service system security advisory committee, then SSAC. So there's so many verticals within ICANN. So you will get lost. It's very difficult for you, for a newcomer, to find your way and navigate your way and find what vertical within ICANN that you can contribute effectively. So that is where the NextGen program comes, for you to have a structured understanding of how to go about the IG space as well as the ICANN ecosystem. So why would you want to be a NextGener, right? What does the program offer you? So the program fundamentally offers you mentorship for you to easily navigate, find your way through the IG and ICANN ecosystem. It's a great opportunity for you to network with your fellow youth who are doing wonderful work within their own country, within their own regions and organizations with respect to internet and governance of the internet. Along with that, it gives you an opportunity to interact with the various stakeholders who attend the meeting or are part of the ICANN community. And another very interesting aspect of the NextGen program is the ICANN provides you with travel and financial support for you to attend the ICANN meeting in person. Yes. So how do you become a NextGen at ICANN? For eligibility, you'll have to be a student. You'll need to be enrolled in a course in either your undergraduation or postgrad or be a doctoral student. You have to be between the age groups of 18 to 30. And you must live and study in the region where the ICANN meeting is happening. So for example, in 2016, when I had applied, I was studying in India and I was in India. So I could only apply to the ICANN conference that was happening in the Asia Pacific region. Then you should have a good inclination and show strong interest in the IG space and in how you would like to see the internet being molded. And various other topics that are covered at the ICANN meeting. So this is where, it's important, like Jenna was also just mentioning, that the ICANN meeting is actually happening from 17th to 22nd of October this year. And it's a virtual conference. So I would strongly recommend you to attend the meeting, just be a spectator, try to understand what processes are going on, who are the people who are talking about and what are they talking about. So that will give you a considerable exposure even for you to engage or even apply as a NextGen at ICANN. So when you want to apply, right, so the entire process I can break down into three sections. The first one is the application phase, then we have the mentorship phase, then we have the ICANN meeting. So at the application phase, you will have to fill an application, and please again make sure that you're filling for when you're applying for the NextGen, that the conference is happening in the region where you're studying and living. So here you will have to show an inclination and decent understanding of what ICANN is doing. So again, attend the ICANN meeting, check out the ICANN website, take your time to just go through, navigate through pages and understand what they're doing. Then you have to mention and describe how this program will add value to you and your community. Then show your inclination, again, desire to understand what's happening at ICANN and sort of bring it back to your region, how you plan to implement it or execute what you've learned from the ICANN meeting within your region or community. This is again a very important aspect of the application form, is that you have to describe a research or a work that you're doing with respect to what ICANN is doing, right? So you will, based on all of these points, and broadly, these are the points that need to be there in the application for the NextGen program. So when you're talking about your research, you will have to describe it thoroughly as to why are you part of this, how is it related to ICANN and all of that. Then you have to give a presentation at the ICANN meeting, of the research that you're conducting within your country or within your college or school. So then after the application period, you have a mentorship period. So once you've gotten selected, after the application period, you'll get mentored. So this is where you will have a NextGen ambassador. So a NextGen ambassador, you can only become a NextGen ambassador once you've been a NextGen fellow. So for a NextGen ambassador, you can be from any region across the globe. It is not region-specific application, but only prerequisite is that you have to be a NextGen. Only then you can apply for as an ambassador. So you'll be assigned a NextGen ambassador based on your background. So last year I was a NextGen ambassador. I was mentoring 3 young individuals, and they were my mentees. And since I'm an engineer, they were also from the engineering background, and I was able to talk to them about the technical aspects or technical related discussions that take place at ICANN. Along with that, you will have to do a few courses from the ICANN Learn platform. It's a great platform. The courses are free. They are certification courses, so that give you good exposure to the internet ecosystem as well as the ICANN ecosystem. So whenever you attend the ICANN meeting, everything is not too new for you, and you have an understanding as to what each supporting organization or advisory committee is working towards and what are the discussions that are taking place at the current moment. then then we have the ICANN meeting. So once you're done with your mentorship period and your next gen ambassadors, make sure that you get a good understanding much prior to the ICANN meeting of what is going to happen at the ICANN meeting, and they connect you with the right individuals, and to make sure that you make the best out of the meeting. You connect with the right people and stakeholders based on your area of interest. So at the ICANN meeting, you will have mandatory sessions as a newcomer, so that so that you strengthen your foundation in the ICANN and IG space. Then you have this really fun meeting with the ICANN board, because this I really enjoyed. I've attended 2 ICANN meetings as a next gen, one as a next gen ambassador, and both these meetings, the interaction with the ICANN board has been wonderful, because then they talk to you, they take you through their life journey, and then you get to understand what are the skill sets required for you to be effectively contributing in this area. And it's a fun conversation that you have over lunch, usually. Then you have your next gen presentations, which are mandatory, and these presentations obviously link to the research description that you presented and you've written down in your application form. Now, for you to even, I understand there'll be a lot of doubt as to, because this ICANN is an ocean. There are lots of things going on. So for you to even start off, lots of my colleagues have spoken about the IG space, the great work they're all doing in terms of bringing in new people, engaging them in this area, making sure you find your area of interest to contribute, right? So I would suggest that you start engaging with various other organizations, attend the ICANN meeting that is going to happen, enroll yourself in ICANN courses to get very ICANN specific, the ecosystem specific understanding. Then that will give you a good understanding and confidence for you to apply for the ICANN Next Gen program itself. So these are some important links. There's a beginner's guide to participating in ICANN that's available on the ICANN website. I'll just share all of these links in the chat right now. Then we have the ICANN Next Gen link. Then the ICANN fellowships. Fellowships are open for individuals who are 21 plus and they are not region centric. Then we have the ICANN Learn course. Yeah, that's it for my time. And if there are any questions, feel free to send them to my mail ID, or I'd like to discuss them right after my presentation.
Thank you, Anita. This is very informative. I hope you guys will can actually get to absorb so many informations in just 1 hour sessions. We should have spent more time on Q&A, but then all of the sessions are just really great and very fruitful and informative. But then I hope you guys could still get something, because I have seen you guys interacting in the group chat. So I assume and take it as a positive sign. And here we have our last speaker finally after an hour, and we will have Elliot talking about APIGA as he was the fellow of last year. And I will get him to present and share his experience with us before we move on to the Q&A session. Thanks.
Thank you, Jenna. You've clearly saved the best till last. So let me, hang on. Well, it's the best till last, but I still can't get my PowerPoint up. Hang on. Oh no, it's on the wrong screen. Right, we'll make do. So yes, I'm talking about APIGA, which is the Asia Pacific Internet Governance Academy. And don't feel bad if you're in another area of the world, because these internet governance academies are all over the world and they're all fantastic. But for the Asia Pacific region, it's held in Korea each August. For people ages of 18 to 35, and you don't have to be studying or anything. It's just anyone within that age range, and it's a real grassroots introduction to internet governance. Really. I remember last year, day one was literally, how does the internet work? So there's no assumed knowledge here. Oh no, there you go. Now it's organized by ICANN, KISA, who are the big internet security honchos in Korea, and APNIC. For the first couple of days, it's a real lot of practical stuff focusing on how the internet works and what internet governance is. But then as you get further on in the week, you spend a lot more time talking about get from speakers and you start talking about internet issues and, you know, how do you develop policies in an internet setting, you know, much as you've been doing here for the last couple of days. And everything is always very focused on the Asia Pacific region, which is a cause near and dear to my heart. It's very important. So yes, I went last year. We were in Seoul. It was 36-degree humid weather. Absolutely wonderful. But I really quite enjoyed it. I still went into it not knowing a lot about internet governance, and there's really such a wide variety of practical activities and group discussion and everything. It was such a fantastic experience, because you really do start off learning about how the internet works, and you move on to, here's how the internet works, here's some of the problems facing it, here are what some of those solutions are, and then by the end of the week you're talking about what exactly are we going to suggest to solve these problems. So there's a real progression there, and that's something that I feel like, you know, you don't really get out of just going to an ICANN meeting or just going to an IGF. The learning experience isn't quite there. There's no progression through the course of your program, and very certainly I got that out of APIGA. But there was also very fun stuff, and if I put my fun glasses on, there's also fantastic food, because you're in Korea, and Korean food is fantastic. There's also fantastic mascots. You can see here me with a mascot for, I think that's a sport, and then a mascot for an animal, and a mascot for another animal. It was fantastic. I went on a wild hunt for everything animals, giant animals. But see, this is perhaps not an underrated aspect of internet governance activities, is getting to travel and experience different cultures. But APIGA was a fantastic example of that as well. I mean, if anything, the fact that they got so many people from multiple different cultures into this small room in Seoul really does highlight what this is all about. Is about bringing people together. So back to not quite so fun stuff. How do you apply? Well, it's through the APNIC fellowship system. I think usually around April, May, and you know, same as the ICANN Next Gen stuff. You're focusing on, you know, why do you want to participate? What are you going to take back with you to your home country? Do you have any previous experience? Not that there's a big focus on previous experience, because as I said, you really do start from ground zero. But overall, you want to focus on what you're learning about internet governance. You know, what interests you. You have to know about what internet governance is to start with, and the fact that you're on this call here at 12:47 a.m. with me here, and you're on this call, indicates that you're already interested in internet governance. So you've already got to step up on all the people who don't know anything. If you're a university, you know, get involved, get engaged. That's always very helpful if you want to get into these sorts of programs. Make yourself interesting. You know, if there's a particular area that you're interested in, if you're interested in issues of internet access or, you know, privacy and data protection, you know, make a stance on that. You know, say something cool. And APIGA is a bit more personal than ICANN. I think Jenna can probably attest to this, that the organisers are looking for people on a personal basis, because it's not a big program, so they are looking at the people a bit more specifically. So anyway, so that's how I found APIGA. I would 100% recommend applying to it, or any of the schools of internet governance if you get a chance, because if you're finding that in these ICANN and IGF programs that you're struggling to get the basics, then that's where these schools of internet governance can really help elevate you to the next level. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Elliot, for giving such concise but informative sharing on APIGA. I hope they enjoy your fun part about the presentations. And for now, we still have 10 minutes for the entire sessions, and then we may have to end this virtual camp after that. So perhaps we can take a couple of questions from the floor, and hopefully the speaker can turn on your camera also at the same time to get ready to answer the question. So if you have any questions, press the hand button to raise up your hand and put you on the queue and ask the questions. It can be about anything. Right now, you can start to put your hand and I'll put you on the queue. It can be about fellowship or initiative or the program that you talk about or anything about our program. So it would be great if you guys can take this chance to ask some questions because we have the youth leaders on the call and perhaps maybe our organizing committee would have something to, comment and feedback or ask also. So don't be shy because this is the last chance before we meet again. Or people start to drop because they feel tired after a long day. I know in Asia Pacific, it's pretty late now. Like in Hong Kong, it's 11 p.m. Okay, Caleb got some questions, so I think you can speak now. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Caleb. I would like to ask about API-GA program, and I'll ask like they will give like it's held in Korea. There may be like a little bit strict restriction about the qualities of the participants. So may I know what are the qualifications for the application, and may I know how can I join these? How can I apply this program?
Sure. So it's open to anyone between the ages of 18 and 35. You don't have to be studying at university. Certainly last year, a lot of the people were working. And in terms of the application, you apply through, I think Pavel put the APNIC fellowship link there. So you apply through there, I think normally around April, May of each year. And it's just a handful of questions about, why do you want to be involved and everything. So it's a pretty straightforward application process, but absolutely if you're in the age range, then you definitely should apply.
Anyone want to ask any questions about ICANN program or API-GIF? Well, I've seen people chatting in the group chat. I didn't quite take a closer look on what the discussion's been about. But if you do have comments or questions, really like put on your hand, put you on the queue to, unmute yourself to ask the questions. I think Pavel's on, it's an unmute himself. So I assume you might want to.
No, sorry. I was just going over the chat, and I guess the main concern that people have right now is where can we get Elliot's glasses? So nothing very serious over here. Just it's about the glasses. So yeah, I was just like wanted to make that comment. Sam and Elliot can help with that.
I don't think I can help with that unless you want to. You're welcome to come to Melbourne, and I'll go secondhand clothes shopping with you, and then we can get glasses.
But well, really, no more questions. I think if no questions, then let me just wrap up the session. Then I think it's a great one. Thanks everyone for joining such late hours, especially thanks Elliot. He was like, of course, jokingly, but complaining about the late hours. So thanks for joining us here and for all this youth speakers from all around the world to actually share information with our participants. It's probably my fault to put all the speakers all together so intensively. Maybe I hope you guys are not falling asleep because of, as absorbing too much information at once. But I hope when you come back to the recording or when you see the transcript and all that, I hope it's helpful for you to, you know, achieve your own pathway and how you want to continue your journey in internet governance. And so this session is gonna end, and other than that, our youth IGF 2020 virtual camp will also end here. So I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone, to all the speakers who speak in the past 2 days panels and also today for this lightning talk. And for sure, special thanks to all the organizing committee, especially Stephen, Pratik, Pavel, Rila, Jasmine, and all the other team to help moderating, organizing the sessions, and then interacting with all the participants. And I also really appreciate all the effort from our participants, especially when we have some technical issues for, you know, in the breakout group sessions, which, you know, we don't have the chance to actually guide you guys to prepare for your presentation today, but it's been really great when you guys are presenting it, and you guys have done a really good job. And I hope to see you guys in this IG community in any ways in the future. And probably because it's too late for me also, and I feel like this translation, it's not functioning well here, and I speak very slow English right now. But yeah, I hope to see you guys next week at APRGF, first of all, and maybe seeing some of you applying for Net Mission and, you know, other fellowship or at other youth program or initiative in the future. So I think that's all for today. And thanks to everyone again. I hope to see you all very soon.
Jenna, if I may just add a small thing, I think Zinmeo brought it on the chat, and this is something we always do at YCIG. We could all do a group picture since we have 3 minutes in the.
Yeah. Oh well, I forgot. You know, whenever in the past 2 days, I remember to take it, and now I'm moderating and forgot. So right now, please have everyone to turn on your camera. And just one thing, since it takes me some time to do a screen cap, right? So it's gonna be a little bit weird for you guys to just hold your smile for like 10 seconds. So I got some chance to actually take a screenshot. When it's ready, then I would let you guys to, you know, unfreeze yourself. But for now, I'll give you 5 seconds to turn on